Some places should not be entered, some voices should not be heard, and some encounters should never be remembered. These stories are more than eerie coincidences. They are reminders that reality is not as stable as we think. Tonight we bring you 5 chilling incidents that remain unsolved. Stay until the end. But be warned, some mysteries never let go. In 2014, a woman named Grace was driving home late at night when a dense fog rolled in. Her headlights barely cut through the mist, but as she approached an intersection, she saw something. A man stood in the middle of the road. He didn't move. He didn't react. He was tall, dressed in dark clothes, his face blurred by the fog. She blinked, and he was suddenly closer. Heart racing, she swerved and drove past him, but when she glanced in her rearview mirror, he was sitting in her back seat. She crashed her car moments later. When police arrived, she was alone. But she insisted someone else had been there, and the back seat was covered in fog. In 1991, a man named David took his usual morning jog through his suburban neighborhood. Every house was familiar, except one. At the end of the street, a house he had never seen before stood in silence. It looked old, abandoned, the windows dark. Confused, he asked his neighbors about it. They all gave him the same answer. What house? He returned that evening, determined to prove he wasn't imagining things. But when he reached the end of the street, the house was gone. Only an empty lot remained. In 2006, a college student named Jamie moved into a new apartment. The place was small, cheap, and came with an old landline phone. She never used it. One night the phone rang. Confused, she picked up. No one spoke, just breathing. She hung up. The next night the same thing happened. Then the next. Frustrated, she finally asked, "Who is this?" The breathing stopped. Then a voice whispered, "You should know. I'm in your closet." She ran. When she returned with police, the apartment was empty, but the phone wasn't even plugged in. In 1978, a hotel in New Orleans had a peculiar mystery. Guests staying in room 209 often complained of strange noises, whispers, knocking, footsteps pacing at night. One guest even called the front desk, swearing someone was inside his closet. When staff checked, the room was empty. Eventually, the hotel sealed off the room. No one entered it for years. Then, in 2004, renovations uncovered something chilling. Behind the wall, they found a door. Inside was a fully furnished room, dusty, untouched. A plate of food sat on the table, still fresh, and in the chair, a skeleton sat upright, hands resting on the table, as if waiting for someone to return. In 1988, a man named Robert was driving home when his GPS suggested a shortcut through a back road he had never taken before. The road was empty, stretching into darkness. After 15 minutes, the radio started crackling, Then his headlights flickered. Then he passed the same gas station. Again, even though he had never turned around. Confused, he checked his phone. No signal. A few miles later, he saw something ahead. A figure standing in the middle of the road. No face, no movement, just standing. The car's engine sputtered. The figure took a step forward. Robert slammed the gas. His vision blurred. Then suddenly, he was back on the main highway. He checked his watch. 2 hours had passed. The road he had taken, it didn't exist. Some roads should never be followed, some doors should never be opened, and some voices should never be answered. Do you believe these incidents are just coincidence, or are they something much darker? Let us know what you think, and if you want more chilling stories, be sure to like, subscribe, and join us next time. If you dare.